Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of BSing Sports here on the BSing Network, where we do a little BS and we talk a whole lot of sports. With me, as always, is Ryan, as you can see, sitting next to me, and Tim.
Why the fuck do I look so short?
It's that chair. Hold on, I can help. Hold on.
Yeah, right.
Because you are short.
Oh, wait,
now you got the same height.
Oh, well, now I gotta go.
There
up.
we go. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, now we're cooking with gas.
Well,
Same height. There we go.
We should have done this
Proud
before
of
this.
you.
But anyway, yeah. So obviously, last week, Super Bowl 57 concluded in a 38-35 victory for the Kansas City Chiefs because John Gannon can't make adjustments at halftime. Yeah, we can get into that a little bit. Let's just kick right off. We are live, right? We have no viewers.
Yeah, well, that's okay. We're gonna cover.
Probably asleep.
It is what it is, you know. Somebody will hop on.
Yeah,
You right.
I think the Super Bowl was a very good game. I think that, you know, I'm gonna jump right into the elephant in the room here. I do think that the holding at the end of the game was probably the right call. In reality, yes, it screwed up what potentially could have been a great situation. However, I don't think that that's a standard we should set for ignoring penalties, because that's how, you know, things such as the NFL is rigged come up, you know, in topics as, you know, what will probably happen at some point during this show.
I've had 5 days of cool off. I'm okay.
So I do think it was the right call. You know, if that same exact play happens in the middle of the second quarter, most people probably shrug their shoulders at it and go whatever. I think people are just mostly mad because of the situation that it happened in, not necessarily because that the call was made.
Yeah, I mean, listen, James Bradbury came out after the game and said, "Hey, listen, I held him. I was hoping I'd get away with it, but I didn't." Now, there is something to be said about how they let them play the rest of the game. There was a James Bradbury on Juju Smith-Schuster non-call earlier in the game. Ryan and I stood up and said that probably should have been called.
Mm-hmm.
So the press, it just has to be, my thing is it needs to be consistent throughout the game, right? You can't not make the call in the first quarter and then turn around and make it with 48 seconds left on the clock. That's my only argument with it. But going back and looking at it, it absolutely was a hold. And most times it should get called. Now, having said that, that's not why the Philadelphia Eagles lost the Super Bowl. The Philadelphia Eagles lost the Super Bowl because their defense, A, couldn't gain any traction on the field. We'll get into that in a second. And B, couldn't stop Patrick Mahomes. I mean, listen, I get it. He's the best quarterback in football right now. He's on pace to be the new GOAT. Forget Tom Brady that fast out the window. But
Who?
Exactly. But the Eagles just absolutely did nothing to prevent him on one leg from beating them. You're talking he had a 22-yard scramble on one leg late in the third quarter. Now, again, I do want to touch on the field conditions because I've heard it from several people that the field conditions were absolutely horrendous. We have edge rushers that try to get around. They try to box around the tackles and come in from the back, and they kept slipping. There was a photo of both Brandon Graham and Josh Sweat laying face down on the ground at one point or another. Because they just tried to get around, and the field was just so absolutely horrendous that they slipped. Now,
It's a great time to test out new grass.
Yeah, during the Super Bowl, right? I have a neighbor of mine who happened to be at the Super Bowl. I was talking to him earlier today, and he said in between every single drive, we saw it at halftime. They showed us at halftime. In between every single drive, they were out there trying to put new sections of grass in where the players were slipping. That's how bad the field was.
Huh.
Tim, sorry, give me yours.
So you can't blame the field condition on the loss either, because they both played on it, and one team was going to win no matter what. And like, even if you watch the Kelsey podcast that they do, they even both said, like, yeah, we were both slipping, but that's what pregame is for, to figure out what type of cleats you need to get used to the field. And the Eagles didn't. Obviously, the Eagles didn't do the right thing, and some of the Chiefs did.
Yeah, I feel like the Eagles were definitely slipping more than the Chiefs, so I think that's good on the Chiefs for, you know, being prepared more for the field conditions than the Eagles.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I'm not making the excuse that the field is why they lost. I'm saying it contributed.
I still don't. I mean, obviously, it contributed because we have the best edge rushers in that game. Let me phrase that: in that game, not in the NFL, in that game, and they couldn't do nothing. So some of me want to blame the field, but you really can't, because their edge rushers didn't do anything either. Frank Clark didn't do anything. I don't remember the other guy.
Chris Jones.
That's it. Yeah, Chris Jones didn't really do anything either. Like,
Yeah, it's a weird situation, right? Like, I don't think that other than like just for an opinion saying like the field conditions were trash, which they were. Like,
definitely
I don't
would.
even think I would label it so much as a contribution because of exactly your point. Both teams played on the same exact field.
Mhm.
Yeah, and again, I hear your statements on that.
The biggest thing I blame is our coaches got outcoached by the Chiefs coach.
Yeah, I mean,
Coach
we
Andy
knew
Reid.
going into the game that Andy Reid was going to outcoach Shane or John Gannon. We knew it. We just didn't know to what extent. Well, the second half is the extent.
Yeah,
Four possessions in the second half, and they scored on every single one.
and the turn of momentum was obviously the Jalen Hurts fumble. Going back
Yep.
and looking at that game, right? Yeah, the Eagles did lead by 10 points at halftime. However, the Eagles were driving and looking like they were going to blow that game open 28-7 or something along those lines, even 24-7, right? Like that totally let the Chiefs back in the game. That was a huge momentum swing. That was probably like the key pivotal play for me. You could even make the case that the play right before that, the Isaac Seumalo false start, is probably the play of the game, right? Go from 3rd and 1 to 3rd and 6, and then Jalen Hurts fumbles the football.
Yeah, could have changed the game plan. But really, after the fumble, Jalen Hurts threw a 52-yard touchdown pass to A.J. Brown. So
He did, but the point still.
I get what Ryan said. It is a game changer. Like, if you take those 7 points off the board, the Eagles win. So
That's exactly right. You take those 7 points off the board, and the Eagles win. Now, to Ryan's point, I think who got gypped the most with that holding call there at the end of the game was the fans. You're talking a minute 36 possibly on the clock after the Chiefs kick a field goal, because that was 3rd and 10, mind you. Chiefs kick a field goal, Eagles get the football back with one timeout. They get the opportunity to drive down the field and possibly give you an epic ending to a Super Bowl. I think personally, the people that got gypped the most was us, the fans. And I'm going to stick by that. I'm going to hold strong on that the fans were the ones who suffered the most.
I mean, I agree with that, but NFL don't care about the fans, obviously.
Because the fans are still going to pay.
Exactly. Like, and they're going to pay those prices. Like,
I'm up for my future.
Okay. So, like, if they don't care, they're going to get their money either way.
That's true.
Yeah, and you look at the Eagles defense, or people blame the Eagles defense, and they don't realize just how bad it was, because the Eagles dominated the time of possession in that game, had over 11 more minutes with the football than the Chiefs did. So the fact that the Chiefs scored more, they scored 31 offensive points to the Eagles 35. I'm not going to include the fumble recovery for a touchdown. In 24 minutes, they scored 31 offensive points. So I don't think it's really to the magnitude of just how bad the Eagles defense was in the second half. Like, they were terrible. It was atrocious.
Yeah.
Chiefs scored on every drive in the second half. You can't allow that to happen.
Yeah, I mean, let's roll right into the next topic. I'm sorry, go ahead, Tim.
At one point, the Chiefs ran the same play, get the opposite direction, and they both scored. Both corners got beat on that same motion.
Well, you know what? Actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because I like that. That's for those people that screamed all year John Gannon needs to go into man coverage, because both those plays were in man coverage, and the man covering cornerback was trying not to get beat on a sweep across the field. So he was way out in front of it, and what happened was Tony and Sky Moore stuck their foot in the ground and just went back the other way. Like, it was a play straight from the Jaguars playbook that they ran in week 3 against the Eagles. Doug did the same exact thing to him.
Another thing is Travis Kelce, man, he's unguardable, like you said. Like, he man, there's so many things.
His first catch, like right past TJ Edwards, but right in front of CJ Gardner-Johnson. I knew it was going to be a long day. I was like, oh man.
That touchdown pass that he caught, like, he beat. I don't remember the
Marcus Epps.
Epps. Yeah, he absolutely beat him. Man coverage, and Kelce gets shrugged him off like it was a pat on the back and ran for the end zone.
Yeah, but on that play, did you notice he started out slide lined up against Slay, and I said it when he went in motion, I was like, he just motioned to the inside. He's not on Slay anymore. And then he ran a wheel route to the outside. So away from C.J. Gardner-Johnson's side of the field, starts him on Slay, motions him off of him. It was a great play design by Andy Reid.
Oh, yeah,
and if you notice, on a lot of Travis Kelce's lineups, they're on Darius Slay's side of the field, but in the slot or inside. And then he did it again. He motioned inside later in the game off of Darius Slay as well. Causes the defense staff to communicate, change men. Slay on Kelce, I'm okay with that as an Eagles fan. But once you motion inside, then I start to get a little queasy.
I'm with you.
Yeah. Let's roll right into the next topic on that. So it seems, and there's a lot of reports coming out of a lot of different camps right now, that Howie Roseman soft fired Jonathan Gannon. Jonathan Gannon was told right after the Super Bowl that he would not be getting on the plane back to Philadelphia from Arizona. He was going to interview for the Arizona job. And then I really didn't put any stock in that until Nick Sirianni's press conference yesterday, when they asked him specifically, the question was, what are you looking for in your next defensive coordinator? And it didn't even stutter, didn't break a hesitation. His response was, I don't know, maybe a guy who can make in-game adjustments.
Also goes on him too. Like, he's the head coach. You can make the in-game adjustment. Like,
I understand that. I hear where you're coming from. That's not the topic I'm bringing up. I'm bringing up Howie Roseman soft firing.
I don't believe that, because it was reported that he was going to interview before the Super Bowl.
He said he wasn't going anywhere, so there's a little bit of a lot of gray there.
It was still reported that he was going to interview for that head coaching job right after the Super Bowl. So,
yeah, I mean, I don't believe it too much either, because what was he going to do? Get on a flight late back to Philadelphia just to turn around and get on a flight right back to Arizona the next morning? Like, I don't think it was a soft firing, because if he had turned down the head coaching job or it didn't work out with Arizona for whatever reason, he would have turned around and came back and been the defensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles. Like, he had the number one pass defense, number two overall defense in the NFL. Oh no, he got completely destroyed by a great offensive coach and the best quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, stuff happens.
Let's go over important dates in the NFL real quick. So obviously February 5th was the Pro Bowl, past that. Sunday, February 12th was the Super Bowl, we passed that. Tuesday, February 21st, starting at 4 p.m. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. Starting on February 21st, which is a Tuesday, through March 7th, 4 p.m., clubs may designate, franchise, or transition players off their open rosters. February 28th to March 6th, NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis. Tuesday, March 7th, 4 p.m. is deadline for clubs to designate and franchise players. Basically, I'm just looking for free agents. Anybody who wasn't designated by March 13th is now a free agent. I'm not reading all of this while we're live on air. I should have read it before. Yeah, so basically some important dates coming up, obviously. Free agent deadline, et cetera, et cetera. I really shrank that one up, didn't I?
No, I said, I just texted Tim and I said, I guess we don't get to talk about the Eagles offense at all, huh?
No, why would we talk about the offense? They scored 35 points. They
Jalen Hurts broke records.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts broke records, and we didn't even get to talk about it. All right, so Jalen Hurts is coming up on a big payday here.
I figured that would just be an offseason topic. If you want to talk about the offense in the Super Bowl, do that.
Yeah, but I mean, we're going to. But however, it stems off of a 3 rushing touchdown and a passing touchdown performance on a great throw to A.J. Brown. By the way, probably about 60 yards in the air or so. It was a fantastic performance. He did everything he could, and I think they went 8 for 8 on quarterback sneaks, so that helps as well. Outside of the fumble, there's nothing else that you could have, asked him to do. I think he did everything that he possibly could have. Devontae Smith had a great game, like I said he would. 7 catches for 100 yards. A.J. Brown had the long touchdown. They didn't run the ball nearly as much or as efficiently as I would have liked them to, but the Chiefs seemed pretty committed to stopping the run and forcing Jalen Hurts to be a quarterback, which he looked pretty good doing, Robbie Gold.
I didn't hear the last part of Ryan until it lagged out.
Oh, he's calling out Robbie Gold because he said that if Jalen Hurts has to actually play quarterback, he's not very good. I mean, he throws for 306 yards, 4 total touchdowns, but whatever.
Yeah, I agree with Ryan. Jalen Hurts had an impressive day. He showed that he could be the NFL quarterback. that he is an NFL quarterback, and any doubters, including myself, shouldn't be doubting him anymore.
I was.
But my big thing, that last play of the game where he only threw it like 20 yards down the field.
He slipped
He
on
slipped.
the throw.
If you watch
that.
it, he slips on the throw.
I didn't see that. Okay.
Yeah, I saw it live. I was like, oh boy, that's not going to be good. I saw him kind of slip, and I thought he hit his hand on a lineman's helmet, but that didn't happen.
No, he just slipped. And, I mean, if your plant leg doesn't stay under you and you're trying to throw the ball.
I didn't see that. So
I thought it was kind of weird that he got a ball 55 to 60 yards in the air to A.J. Brown earlier in the game and then threw that, 25-yard duck.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. But other than that,
so, I mean, yeah, I wasn't impressed with Miles Sanders throughout the playoffs. I feel like the Eagles intentionally limited his touches because I don't think he's coming back. There's a lot of moves in the offseason that we'll have to touch on here in a few weeks. But, yeah, Jalen Hurts had a fantastic performance. Jalen Hurts proved that he can be a franchise quarterback, and that terrifies me because that's going to come with a hefty price tag.
Yeah, we'll get into the contract negotiations when we return. It'll probably be our first show when we get back. But some people are saying he's upwards of $300 million. So hopefully you can spread that over 10, 12 years.
I also heard that he don't really care about the money. He wants to win.
Yeah, everybody says that.
I think, listen, I don't doubt that he wants to win. And I don't doubt that he would take a small discount to stay in Philadelphia with this team. But if you're thinking he's only going to take $20 million a year, you're out of your mind.
I could see him taking less than Patty Mahomes. I could see him sitting around $44.1-ish million.
Yeah, I'm hoping how we can somehow negotiate, figure out a way to get it around 38. But yeah, I'm thinking 44 to 45. Yeah.
Yeah, Dak Prescott makes 40. No way he's taking less than that.
There you go.
Can't afford that.
Yeah, well, what comes with that is, Devontae Smith walking when his time is coming, and we'll get into that later down the road. But there will be some cap implications. However, the Eagles can make one more run at it with Jalen Hurts on a rookie contract next year. But he earned himself a big payday.
So, quick question: do they sign him this year or next year?
It'd be this year.
It's going to happen this year.
Yeah, you don't want him to hit the open market. Also, you want to pay him before Herbert and Burrow get their money.
Yeah,
true. Okay.
I won't be surprised if we get the notification that he's been signed in the next 15 to 25 days.
Okay.
Or at least some of the contract negotiations will be leaked and we'll know the number. So yeah, that's what I'm anticipating. That's what I'm predicting.
Okay.
Now, unfortunately, again, this will be a show for maybe a little bit down the line. We're going to lose other guys signing Jalen Hurts. Guys like C.J. Gardner-Johnson is going to be gone. Fletcher Cox is likely gone. Brandon Graham is likely gone.
I think they can save, a couple guys. I think that, but I mean, Brandon Graham might be back. I think Cox, it's his time to walk. He was invisible in the Super Bowl, invisible for most of the season. I would be okay with letting him go despite everything he's done here.
Jordan Davis, man.
TJ Edwards would be nice to have him, but honestly, if Nakobe Dean's there to replace him, I'm okay with letting him walk. But yeah, there's got to be a lot of moves made, and I hope it doesn't come with a lot of contract restructuring because that's they end up like the Saints, who are $60 million in cap debt to start the offseason.
Yeah, they got some work to do it over there. We'll get into that in another show, like I said.
Z Money asks, how we feeling, boys? Like any fan would, it was upsetting, it was depressing, but ultimately it wasn't a game that I didn't think the Eagles were out of by any stretch of the imagination. They were a couple plays away from being the best team in the NFL, and that's just, the positive outlook of it, but ultimately they lost.
Ask you, hold or no hold?
We all said hold.
Yep.
Yeah. You must have. Yeah, we said it absolutely was a hold. Yes.
Yeah, because you just tuned in. Quick summary: we said it was a hold, and that most people probably said it wasn't a hold because of the situation. If that play happens in the middle of the second quarter, nobody bats an eye at it.
Correct. All right. So, what do you want to run into now? Let's move into Derek Carr's release.
Yeah.
Right.
Speaking of weird
quarterbacks.
Yeah, quarterbacks and weird contract scenarios. Derek Carr's $40 million would have become guaranteed by the Las Vegas Raiders on February 15th. However, they were looking for options to explore, like trying to trade him to a different team. Derek Carr had to sit down with the Saints on the 13th, and then he came out the next day and said that he is in no way, shape, or form going to waive his no-trade clause, therefore leading the Las Vegas Raiders to cut him. That it's a bit of a weird scenario, I guess, but ultimately when it's one of the few times you see players holding all the cards versus the front office, right? Like you're going to do exactly what I want you to do kind of thing. And I think Derek Carr did the right thing. Might have lost out on a little bit of money, but ultimately, he has, ultimate control over where he's going.
Yeah, the big thing here, and I'll let Tim touch on this in a second, is he didn't allow the Raiders to get anything for him. It was obviously a bad divorce, and now all the cards were in his court. So he just flat out told them, "I'm not going to approve a trade to any team. You will not get any assets from me. And here's a big, to you, and we're moving on." So, hey man, kudos to Carr. Mad respect. You're gonna take a small pay cut. Kudos to Carr. Tim?
Yeah, I think Carr made the right choice, especially the way Vegas did him dirty at the end of the year. If they didn't tell him, "Hey, we're gonna let you play these last 2 games, and then we're gonna treat it all offseason," that's a little bit different. But they sat him,
Yeah, they allowed him to not show up to the facility anymore.
Yeah.
It was clearly a bad breakup, and it was time
absolutely.
to move on, so. But the NFL Combine starts in a week and a half. Starts the 28th of February, I believe. Lasts a week, if I'm not mistaken, maybe a little bit longer. NFL free agency starts March 14th or March 15th at 4 p.m. So we're less than a month from that. And then, we roll pretty much right into rookies showing up to camp and then, vets showing up. There's, some time, and this is supposed to be a good rookie class. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on a lot of, these rookies coming in, particularly at running back. Yeah. With the NFL draft being April 27th through April 29th. That was a big one.
Yeah. All right. Moving off of that real quick. We spent about 20 minutes on that. That sounds good. Let's roll into some other topics. What else you got for us, Ryan?
Pitchers and catchers reported.
Yeah, they did.
Finally.
It's our favorite sport here on BSing Sports. I know you've sat here and listened to us talk about football for all of football season, which leads into our next announcement. We will be taking about a 3-week hiatus from live shows. I'm moving into my house next Friday, so we wouldn't be doing a live show then. And just, we're kind of pausing the season. We're going to transition into season 3 of our podcast, which will be, starting with the MLB season. We'll be doing MLB team breakdowns, all the moves from the offseason. We will also be covering some NFL offseason news in that time. Starting in April, or May, the Stanley Cup playoffs hit. So we'll cover a little bit of that as well. But yeah, so we're going to take a 3-week hiatus or so to go into season 3, and it'll be our 3rd year in April, I believe.
Yeah, starting our 3rd year in April.
Yeah, starting our 3rd year in April. So thank you for all the support. Nice. But so pitchers and catchers reported, which is, kind of the cue that it's the end of season 2 and we're going to roll into season 3. What are you guys looking forward to most with the MLB season?
Tim, you go first, bud.
I want to see how Trey Turner and the Phillies click. I think Trey Turner was a great pickup for the Phils, and I guess he's such a good shortstop. So I just want to see how good he is, live. I want to go to a lot of baseball games this year. Can't wait to see them live. But I also want to see how Houston does again. If they're going to make it to the World Series again or not.
I'm scared. Yeah. Right.
Looking to see how the pitching pans out, right? The Phillies made a couple of different moves for pitching. They extended both Sir Anthony Dominguez and Jose Alvarado, who just got his 3-year extension earlier today after agreeing on an arbitration deal. So I think, the back end of that bullpen with Craig Kimbrell, they've got something cooking there. And as well as the starting rotation, you've got Taijuan Walker coming in on addition. And there's talks that they're going to extend Aaron Nola. So.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing. The base changers and the pitch count.
15 to 18 inches. The pitch clock, you've got 15 seconds with nobody on, 20 seconds with people on base. I don't think it's going to be that much of a difference, to be honest with you. Maybe at the end of games because relievers are notorious for slowing the big pace of the game down. But
Logan says he's ignoring the Trey Turner part, still a sore subject, but that bullpen went from worst to first in my book.
Amen.
Yes. So what I'm looking for most about baseball season, obviously I am a Phillies fan, but I'm looking forward to watching the Easts, and I mean that. You're talking the AL East and the NL East are by far the best two divisions in baseball, and it's going to be a dogfight in both divisions. I think the only weak team, like real weak team in either division right now, is the Washington Nationals. Just a few years ago, the Marlins competed for a playoff spot. The Red Sox are never really out of it. The Orioles have gotten significantly better. Adley Rutschman on the roster, huge deal. So for me, I'm looking forward to watching how both Easts pan out. Obviously, go Phillies, and I think that we'll get into our predictions division by division later.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to the Easts.
Well, the pickoff move is changing too, right? Like you can only pick off like 2 times before the bulk.
Something like that. I don't know. They're doing a lot of weird things to try and speed up the pace of the game, but yet they're adding more offense into the game with these baseballs, which is really the source of slow paced games. So I don't get it. Games used to be an hour and a half long when they were 2-to-1 pitching duels every day. So
true.
Trying to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, Ken Brandt says the throw over to first, they get 3 tries before it's a ball. Now, I mean, there's a lot of strategy that goes into that. You don't want to just throw over 3 times because the guy knows you're not throwing over again. He can take off. There's a lot of strategy that goes into it. But
did we ever really see that many throwovers in a game anyway?
No. Here's my thing, right? People who are complaining about the length of the game in baseball aren't baseball fans, and I really don't care about your opinion.
Most people are casual baseball fans anyway, and they go to the ballpark on a Saturday afternoon because, it's something cool to do with your friends, and you can get cheap tickets. Like, they were still going to do it no matter whether the game was long or short anyway.
Correct.
Yeah.
Also, MLB, hear me out. Why are we trying to promote a faster game when we're just going to black it out anyway?
Seriously. Yeah, hands down. I agree with that 1,000%.
Cool, you made the game 2 hours long. You can't watch it anyway.
Yeah, but all right. We got one more topic, right? Timmy, you got anything?
I could like having cable for that reason.
Well, we live in a different state. We have to actually buy things to watch baseball.
Sounds like your personal problem.
It is our personal problem. I agree with that. Doesn't mean that we're not pissed off about it. What other topics we got today?
That should be it. I mean, the Super Bowl was what it was. It was a great football game, but
yeah, it's unfortunate. Eagles lost. There's always next year.
Yeah, we'll have a lot more to talk about in the coming weeks. We are experiencing a little bit of a burnout here, but that's okay. So about 3 weeks.
I was wondering why we're sitting here on fire. It's because the ceiling fan's not on. Yeah. So, Tim, you got anything else to add? You want to say anything?
So yeah, since I've already told you guys already, I'm going to tell the fans that this will be coming soon. I don't know when. I'm gonna probably be on for a couple baseball episodes here and there, but I will be leaving BSing sports. Me and my wife found out that we are pregnant, so we are gonna spend more time focusing getting a baby-proof house and everything like that. And when I can, I will get on. Like the guy already invited me to do it. So,
what do you mean we are pregnant? I think she is pregnant.
It is a weird line. We're having a baby. No, she's having a baby.
I mean, I did my part, so.
Yeah, but nobody's running around patting you on your manhood saying good job. They're just rubbing her belly, all right? All I'm trying to say.
You're right. Stacy is pregnant.
Congrats to Tim, Stacy, and their son Ryan for joining the BSM family.
Come on, man. You know it's Bill. Chill out.
We know it's a girl. Let's be honest.
Most probably, and we have a name picked out already.
What's the name?
I cannot tell you.
No, yeah, don't do that. Don't do that.
I can text you guys, but I won't announce it over this.
That's fine. Tim, obviously, we appreciate everything you've put into this point, and it'll suck not having you on every show. But thank you for all the input that you have given us. We will miss you. But, it's a business, so get the hell off my screen.
Everyone messaged me. So.
Tim, it's official. You're fired.
So thank you everybody for joining us here on BSing Sports, a part of the BSing Network, where we do a little BS and we talk a whole lot of sports. You
I got
guys
myself back.
for now.
Okay, Undertaker.
All right, everybody. You have a great night. Go Phillies.
Go Phils.